swear I do not believe it. And they are back on terms.
Hello and welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. We are going to talk about a 1-0 victory, another game unbeaten for Rotherham United on Friday night against Stockport County. We have the Peterson Trophy draw to cover, preview the FA Cup draw, and we're going to preview a return to league action on Tuesday night as Gillingham, Steve Evans as Gillingham, come to the New York Stadium. With Sam again, so we have myself, Matt, we have Mick and Danny with us. Thank you for joining us, boys.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
How are we doing? We're recording on Sunday evening. How are we all doing? Are all nice and chilled, ready for the working week again?
Oh, mate, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Let me tell you. Oh, sorry. No. What, I didn't mean that. What did I mean? Yeah. I can't wait.
Oh, well. Yeah. Well, we've got to look forward to another week of Tuesday, Saturday football, which is good. You know, you've got all Rotherham United to talk about and Rotherham to do. So let's start with that. As we mentioned, Friday evening was a 1-0 victory against Stockport, as we said, non-league Stockport County. Let's start with the lineup. Dan, we talked a lot about the lineup on the preview episode on Thursday. We thought we would go as strong as possible, and that's exactly what we did. That could be the team that plays on Tuesday with injuries permitting, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's also nice to know that I'm slowly getting into Paul Warren's head in terms of how he selects his teams, like raking in the funnel points, you know, we're getting there. So that's me happy.
Yeah. I mean, the game itself, Mick, should we talk about Stockport before we talk about the actual game, before we talk about the Rotherham side of things? First of all, their crowd was spectacular, 2,000, whatever it was. What Paul Warren called them the best crowd there's been at New York Stadium. That may or may well be the case. That's an arguable point, but they made a great noise, as you'd expect. If we were in this situation, I think the exact same would happen, wouldn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good turnout, but they're a big club. You know, it's not as though it's a surprise, really, is it, that they're a well-supported club? So yeah, I mean, it made for a decent atmosphere, despite the fact that probably a third of the ground wasn't open because we obviously didn't sell as many tickets as we could have done, which is no criticism on anybody. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, they made it a decent atmosphere. I'm quite impressed with that, I guess. As a team, maybe not so much.
Go on.
Well, oh, come on. I mean, I don't know. There's a reason I don't watch Premier League football. I tend not to watch it, you know, because we've got people just throwing themselves at floor every time a bird flies off the top of the stadium, you know, and draft a win from it. It's just pathetic.
And we saw talking about.
Yeah, well, we 2 or 3 times, didn't we? You know, it's just, I don't know. I can't be doing with it. It's cheating ultimately, is what it is. Whichever way you want to dress it up, you know, it's cheating. And I don't like it when we do it. And when we do it, I will call it out. So that, you know, I'm not sort of picking on anybody from any other sides, any other teams. If we do it, I will call it out. And Ben Wiles has had his moment over the years, particularly in Championship, of throwing himself on floor. Don't like it. And obviously, I mean, we'll come on to specific incidents in game, but for me, that kind of spoiled the performance at Stockport when it happened.
Yeah,
just
I think
my view.
Let's cover the incident. It was the incident with Scott Quigley was fouled. The foul wasn't given because it was offside. But the ball sort of broke through. Mikael Miller tracked back, won the ball. But Scott Quigley effectively claiming that Mikael Miller was overly aggressive. And based on his reaction, you'd assume there was a serious injury from Scott Quigley. It really was a crazy reaction. The referee deemed it a booking, which is unsurprising on his overall performance, the referee. But Danny, it was stupid. And to be fair, if the liner hadn't put the flag up, the referee could have given it a worse decision based on what he did. But to me, he got ball on the replay. I'm still convinced that he got ball first.
Yeah, I am. I mean, yeah, I've watched it on the replay. I've watched it back through the vlog, and he gets ball. But the thing is, he doesn't get the ball and it goes flying off his leg. He sort of gets the ball and stops it dead in its tracks. And Scott Quigley I think he was a bricklayer before he was a professional footballer, and I've never seen a bricklayer behave like that before.
No.
You know what I mean? If it were a bricklayer playing for a Sunday League team, they'd have squared up and headbutted him, wouldn't he? And it's not like Miller has gone in with intent. He's gone to win the ball, and he has done effectively. It's just that, like I say, it hasn't gone flying, so it's not quite as clean cut, if you like. But yeah, the linesman were right to give offsides, and then the referee sort of made a botch of it because obviously he's gone down like someone shot him in his leg. Miller's come out injured as well because he's fallen on top of him. But then for some reason, Quigley's allowed just to carry on with the game, but Miller's told to go to the sideline because he needs to be waved back on. But then he's booked for the challenge, even though it wasn't actually a foul, and he's given offside. Like, we were all perplexed in the stand. It was like, well, what's happening? You know, it was a very confusing situation, but I mean, you can sort of see where the ref's coming from with the yellow card because it was a hard challenge. But you know, it's either you give the offside and nothing's given, or you give the foul. And if you think the challenge is dangerous, then you send Miller off. But it's sort of
absolutely
weirdly compromised in the middle. You know, by giving us the free kick for the offside, but then still booking Miller. Like, anyway, I think karma came round for Stockport in the end because they had a goal disallowed for offside as well. And I don't know if you listened to Football Heaven, anybody who's watching or listening, but Ronnie Moore said he thought he were onside. But unfortunately, he took a deflection of one of their players to get through to Paddy Madden, and that's why it was given offside. So,
well, I have somebody at the ground who was working in line with it, not a reporter, and he said that from the initial free kick, you were offside anyway, according to the guy down there. So apparently Ronnie's wrong on this occasion, unfortunately for him.
Okay, fair enough. But now back to Miller's challenge. Referees botched it, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, if the referee thinks that, if he thinks that is a challenge that's caused an injury, such as Quigley suggested it had caused, which obviously will put somebody in hospital, then it's a red. It's last man. You know, if it's a foul,
last man.
he's last man. So if it's a foul, it's a red. But I think the referee would just.
Does last man come into it? You know, when he's offside, does last man still come into it? Because do you know what I mean? I don't know if it does.
Well, it'd actually make their player the last man technically. I remember when I was still reporting on college football, there was this decision that was given where the goalkeeper ended up being the last man because the defender was stood on the goal line. So because the play was beyond the goalkeeper, he was technically last man. But I think when it's offside, because the attacker is the last man because he's between the defender and the keeper, I don't think it'd come into it.
Yeah.
But based on Miller's reaction, it should be sent off straight away. Straight red card, just broke his leg, you know.
Yeah. The offside, we're offside. There's no question about that. There's no issue with that. But anyway, whatever. He got very happy at yellow cards, didn't he, that ref? I mean, he got that happy with him. I got one for getting up too early for my half-time pie. You know what I mean? So it's just, I'm amazed he didn't make a rod for his own back to the point where he had to send somebody off. I'm amazed.
Get booked as well at one point.
Yeah.
For
pushing somebody. Well, it wasn't even a push, right? If you get pushed over by Freddie Ladapo, you've done something wrong. You've either faked it or you've fallen over something else. He doesn't like he's got the strength to push anyone over. And he doesn't like the type of personality either. He's chilled as anything, isn't he? You're not going to see that from Freddie. But he did get booked for that as well, yeah.
I mean, if you've gone to ground by being pushed over by Freddie Ladapo, I don't think you should be let outside in a strong wind because you're bound to go down anyway. But referees and me are the Referees Association and me are going to have a very big disagreement soon because we've had a shocker at Oxford. Same with the bloke who ref Wickham. Yeah, Port Vale and now Stockport. And I saw a stat on Twitter. I can't remember who posted it. So if you're watching, please tell us in the comments if it's you. They said that every other team in League One has won more free kicks. I think it's free kicks. Has won more free kicks than Rotherham in their opening 19 games. Rotherham have won the least free kicks, but have had the most given against us.
That sounds about right. I can believe that.
Yeah, but you've got to remember, Danny, what an aggressive physical side we are.
Yeah, but we're League One bullies, aren't we?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need a new meme from the RUFC of what's his face? Nelson bullying League One. We need a new meme.
Yeah, we do.
We do, yeah. Away from the referee, I'm sure I'll mention him again in a minute because of how bad it was. But the performance, it was from us for the first 45 minutes anyway. For me, it was below par. We'll talk about the second half in a minute. But I don't know if it was because Stockport were more up for it, which they were, which you'd expect them to be because of the fact it's such a big game, cup game for them, or what. But we weren't the better team for the first half. We had the better quality, but we didn't have the better play. Football. Although they didn't like scoring, they looked more like scoring than us until we scored.
Yeah, it was flat, wasn't it? It was like a continuation of the Port Vale game from Tuesday night. I don't really know why. I can't put my finger on it. It's not something I can put my finger on, but we just didn't seem to be able to get into the game. Now, whether that's the way that Stockport approached it, I don't know. It may be that they'd spotted, some sort of Achilles heel and managed to slow it down, and you know what I mean. I don't know, but it just felt flat. The midfield really didn't boss the game like we've bossed the games that we've done well in this season. Ben Wiles really didn't get into the game at all. Rathbone had a decent game chasing around. It was kind of his sort of environment. And Dan Barley's really didn't get on the ball that much. He was doing a lot more defensive duties than he was that sort of quarterback role. So yeah, I thought we were flat personally.
Yeah, but defensively solid, Danny. We didn't concede obviously the goal that was offside, and it was offside that was disallowed. But as you'd expect, we're 2 leagues above them. But we were kind of defensively solid, and that's a great base to build upon. That we didn't really get much of a sniff.
Yeah, I think Stockport matched us very well. They seemed to be very quick to be after our passes, and I think that's why our passes looked very below par. It seems to be teams that know how we play because they play similarly themselves. Like Stockport are a very high pressing, high scoring team. But their Achilles heel, unfortunately, has been the amount of goals they concede. Now, obviously, that was their game plan, just don't concede, or at least don't concede as much. And it sort of worked out for them. And I think that's why the game was flat, just because they were just like exchanging punches, but not really hurting each other. And then, of course, we landed the punch, which was Smith's goal, which was probably the highlight of the game. I mean, we say that the passing was below par, but it just took that one little lapse of concentration from Stockport, and bang, we're in. And I've seen people comparing us to prime Barcelona. It was that good of a goal, and the passing manoeuvre that led to the goal was brilliant. But unfortunately, Stockport's game plan was just to try and match us up, and credit where credit's due, they have done very well. They did cause us problems, not necessarily with creating chances, but in the middle of the park, it was so evenly matched in terms of work rate. They just sort of cancelled each other out.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. When the football was large played, like I said, the goal we scored was a really nice goal. I thought for the first 15 minutes of the second half, I thought, well, we played some really, really nice football. I thought we should have been 2 or 3 up by the 60th minute. Really frustrating. We couldn't put the game to bed. It should have been a comfortable night. I suppose it was almost as comfortable a 1-0 as you could get, because they've never really troubled us. But 1-0 is never comfortable, I suppose. So
yeah,
you always felt that they might have pulled something out of the bag, particularly in that last 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was sweating in the last 10 minutes because it's like something's going to happen, and it's going to happen up that end, in front of their fans. That's what's going to happen, and that end of it, I was just sat on the edge of my seat, gripping handrail, just waiting for full-time whistle. Like, and not to have a moan or anything, because we know what Rotherham fans are like for moaning, but the the amount of Stockport fans that have had a whine about, oh, you were taking it into the corner and you were wanting the referee to blow the whistle. Like, yeah, because we're 1-0 up in the last minute against a team that scored twice in the last minute to draw with Bolton. You know, that's why. Yeah, that's why we took it into the corner, because it's like, you know, bloody hell, we don't want it to happen again. You know, but I think the criticism of our home support is a little bit unjustified as well from their side, because with the team in Stockport's position playing the team in Rotherham's position, of course you're going to sell out the away end.
Yeah,
you know,
if it all the way around, we would.
Yeah, and I mean they sold out their away allocation at Bolton. Granted, it's just up the road, but you know they've sold out a 5,000 allocation. They're going to sell out a 2,000 allocation as well. But for us, we didn't see it as a big as they have. They've seen it. They've seen it as a massive opportunity to upset someone. But we're sort of looking at it as, you know, it's just second round FA Cup. You know, and that's probably why we only took 4,000. But yeah, there you go. I've said my moan now.
Yeah, I think you're bang on. I don't have a problem with that. If we played, I don't know, Barrow, Newport, Wigan, something like that, our home attendance would have been the same. Because it's an FA Cup game. Being Friday night doesn't help. You know, that's going to knock a certain number of tickets off as well.
And being the second of 4 home games in a row.
Yeah, exactly. I think over 4,000 home attendance, roughly 4,000 home attendance for an FA Cup second round, for us, is about standard. So I'm fairly happy with that. Mick, anything to add?
No, nothing at all. No, I mean, it is what it is, that, isn't it? You know, people can't face run up to Christmas, you know what I mean? It's not cheap. Well. It's not a cheap night out or a day out, whichever it is, whenever the kickoff is. Even if it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday, it's still 18 quid, isn't it? You know, and we've got some away games coming up over Christmas, and you know, no issues.
A couple of individual performances to talk about. Well, Smith got another goal. I think that's his 15th of the season in all competitions. Yep, 15th in all competitions. 51st for the club overall, which again is some great numbers we're looking at. It was all right. Again, Danny, again with most of the team, I thought we lost when Smith went off. I thought it was very obvious Smith went off, which probably tells us how well he actually played, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think it has been Michael Smith's week, hasn't it? You know, he scored against Port Vale, he scored against Stockport, and there are 2 goals this week. But yeah, I get what you mean when he came off. I think the defensive confidence changed a little bit when Woody went off. Like, I know he went off as a precaution. We can't really do out to help that, but you know, I don't know. I think because Woody is the experienced head in defence, he knows how to marshal his back line, and he did that in the first half. And I think that's why, even though we weren't up to par in the middle and front third, we were all right in the final, in the defensive third. But in the second half, sort of swapped round weirdly.
Yeah.
But Michael Smith, he knows where to be in the box when a ball comes in, doesn't he? I mean, Rathbun's done well to create his own space to get into his position, and Smith's just stood there and gone, right, bang, in it goes, see you later. You know, that's what Michael Smith does, is he's definitely worked on his finishing this season and probably end of last season, because he's sort of shaking off the target man stigma that he had last season. He's sort of become more of a general striker. Which is great to see, and that's probably why he's netted 15 out of how many games we played this season. 26, I think. I think it's 26.
About 6. Yeah, about 26. Yeah.
Yeah, so 15 out of 26 games. That's a great return, I think. Fair play to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Chio had a quiet night, Mick, but what that allowed is Mikael Miller to have, again, one of his best games in a Rotherham shirt. I thought it was superb on the left-hand side. He caused all sorts of problems for all sorts of reasons. He's getting a run of games. He's playing games, as obviously, and we're starting to see what we thought was there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just another Chio. He's maybe not got the physical presence that Chio's got, but he's got the pace. He's got the ability to take a player on. He's got the ability to see a pass. Defensively, he's really good as well. Although he just tend to miss time a couple of challenges per game, which means his yellow card count's going to be a bit higher than Chio's. But it's great to have those 2 players on opposite sides, opposite flanks. it really does open up a whole world of opportunity, doesn't it? But and his involvement in the goal, the ball through to Ollie Rathbone from Miller was excellent. So yeah, it's like I said, it's almost like having another cheer on the other side.
Yeah, it is. I thought for me, you were man at match. I thought you were excellent.
Yeah, me too.
So, Shane Ferguson was out with a non-COVID illness. Should be okay for Tuesday. Man flu.
He's caught mixed man flu. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Woody came off with that, as mentioned, a precaution, but he should be back in place for Tuesday night as well. But we're through. We're through to the third round. Is there anything else you want to talk about the match before we move on to the draw?
Just Vickers save in the first half. I mean, because I was like 4 feet from where it happened, it was like, wow. You know, just it's one of the moments where you sort of see the shot coming in, and it happens in slow motion, and it's like everyone sat around me like, this is going in top bins, this. But then Vickers saves it. It's like, that's all you can say. So yeah, fair play to Vickers, but like I say, with Miller and his performance on the left-hand side, he effectively nullified one of the key men for Stockport in the Bolton game, which was that Southern Hales. And like the Stockport guy we had on, Russ, he said he's a tricky customer. He was overlooked a little bit on Twitter, so I naturally copped in and said he's a tricky customer, and Miller neutralised him. So I think both him and Chio are doing very well as wing backs, and they are improving their defensive ability as well. And I think we called Miller on that left hand side due to his pace as well, didn't we?
Exactly, we did.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
We know what we're talking about. That's proof.
Yeah, we don't make stuff up here, do we?
Is that you taking credit for Warney changing tactics to nullify Southern, whatever his name is, Southern Comfort Blow?
I'm
not going to say anything other than if the shoe fits.
Yeah, all right, man. Whatever.
Let's move on to the draw. The draw is at 7 o'clock. Well, roughly 7 o'clock on Monday evening. I've put a little graphic together to see basically how I think it's going to go one way or the other. So, here's what I think in terms of the breakdown.
Oh, this is new.
Well, I've put a little bit of effort in.
Oh, okay, look at this. Wow,
professional.
So for me, and we'll go for the don't wants first. We don't want any championship teams anywhere, home or away. For me, I'm not interested. I also don't want any League One teams away, and I also don't want Leeds, City, Villa, Everton, or Newcastle, Norwich away. I think most of them at home, but away, I think we've been to a lot of those recently. Thoughts on the don't wants, Danny?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Like you say, we don't really want any championship team because we only played them last season. And we all chipped in with a tennis for our fellow to watch it. Same with League One. I mean, I've just had a quick look at some Gillingham fixtures for today, and they've played Cheltenham 3 times already this season. Once in the league and then once in either cup. So yeah, I agree. No League One teams. And then yeah, I think them Premier League away teams. Yeah. You're not really fancy that. I mean, like we've got in the want bracket, I think some Premier League teams away that we could do is maybe Liverpool, Man United potentially, or Tottenham's new ground. I think
Tottenham would be, yeah. Tottenham seems to be the pick for a lot of people because of the new ground. I think.
Yeah. I've been there. I told you.
You might have mentioned it. Yeah. There aren't many non-league teams. I put any non-league team left anywhere, but there aren't many of them. There are Kidderminster and Chesterfield have gone through today. There will be St Albans or Boreham Wood who go through on Monday night. I think that's it for the non-league teams.
There's Yeovil as well.
Yeah, Yeovil. Maybe not Yeovil away. I've put any non-league teams anywhere, but Yeovil away might be a bit of a nightmare.
Oh, my.
Yeah. For me, either in the Championship, Sheffield United or Barnsley, probably home or away. I think that'd be good. And I'd take any League One or two teams at home. I wouldn't want them. But if they're going to give me a home tie, those two, any one of those would fit in. Mick, thoughts?
I don't care. No, I don't. I mean, I pretty much agree with what you said there about the away games. We don't want to play another Championship side, to be perfectly honest. It would be nice to get a decent payday. So I'd like to lay my hat on Tottenham away. I know I'll have that. 60,000. So we get a decent payday, a lovely ground to go to. Happy days. The rest, I'm not really bothered, to be honest. We'll end up with something like Chesterfield away, won't we? You know what I mean?
But that won't be so bad, would it? It's a local derby, and I know that would be a real banana skin, but local derby.
Yeah.
Take a pity on them.
Let's see if we can make some money out of it before we get kicked out. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Fair enough.
Let's see what we can make and let's cut and run.
Jamie like Newcastle away. Like Smithy doing the Shearer celebration. If we're going to get Newcastle, let's get them at home because I don't want to do them steps again. Them steps at away are a nightmare.
Yeah, they are.
That's the only reason for that.
I've heard that Newcastle are now providing a Sherpa service to get to the top of their away end.
Do you know what? With that Newcastle stadium and the away end, if you could call it that, for me that is the ultimate disrespect to away supporters. For me, it really is an absolute. It's embarrassing. It's like what is the point? You know what I mean? What is the point of anybody being up there?
So you can't have an impact on your team, innit?
Oh yeah, well I suppose it is really. Yeah.
But it takes away from the
but still take you
our ground where the fans are close by. Anyway, it creates a better atmosphere.
You're still paying the same amount of money from somebody who's sat next to the pitch. How is that? Anyway, whatever.
Anyway,
that's just me moaning because I'm an old debt.
Jake Kidd would like Chesterfield or Man U away. Those two very different teams, but
yeah.
Big
opposite ends of the spectrum there, Jake.
Yeah. Steve Adams, David Seaman's doing the draw on Monday night, so hopefully he can pull us out a plum draw. Arsenal away. We haven't been to Arsenal since 2000 and whatever. We've never been to Emirates, so that'd be again a new London ground. B Woodcock, Liverpool away. That'd be interesting. We have been to Liverpool. The problem with Liverpool is it'd be another city. It'd be a great day out, but we would get absolutely spanked. So
it depends whether Klopp wears his first team. Sorry, man.
No, it's all right. It's all right, but
yeah,
just hear me out with this one. Liverpool at home, right? Klopp is one of them managers who does like to have a moan around the festive period fixtures. You know about the amount of fixtures that pile up and everything, and generally, does go with a younger side against lower league teams in the FA Cup. Now, wouldn't it be funny to beat Liverpool at home if they play the kids who have already gone out of the Pizza Cup this season?
That would be good, to be fair.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, it would. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Any Premier League team's not going to take it seriously. So, would not take us seriously. Sorry.
No, absolutely. If we do draw a Premier League side, whether it be home or away, like you said, they are going to rest players, unless it's Pep, obviously. Or even if he rests players, he's still got a world class second 11. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
That's why getting something like Newcastle, Burnley, teams like that are not. You know what Burnley are like? Sean Dyche couldn't care less about anything unless it's the Premier League. So they lost to Lincoln, for God's sake. So somebody like that is still a Premier League team, but it gives us a chance of a big upset because we'll take it more seriously than them.
But I know on the last podcast we praised Tony Stewart loads and loads and loads, didn't we? And we praised him a lot, and we're obviously big fans of Tony Stewart. You know, you've got to think about Tony. If we get Newcastle home or away, then he's going to have to deal with that woman in charge at Newcastle.
True.
And I would not wish that on anybody. I mean, I don't know. She's some sort of cyborg robot type woman, isn't she? She's just.
But she wouldn't need feeding then, would she?
Yeah, I suppose she'd be cheap. Yeah, she'd be cheap for snack, wouldn't she? Just feed her some oil or whatever it is robots run on nowadays. I can see why she's in charge of a football club, because she obviously does not take prisoners, does she?
No.
Nobody comes out of there alive.
No,
sorry.
And then we've got
a lovely woman.
Yeah, maybe
She might be.
she's clearly very rich working for the Saudis, so
There you
she
go.
probably don't care what we think, which is fair enough.
The only way she becomes a really lovely woman is if she stood on our upper deck at New York Stadium and she's just throwing money into the crowd. Then she's a lovely woman, best woman on earth.
Yeah. I say the draw's on 7:00 on Monday. We'll be keeping a close eye on that just to see who we get. I'm sure it'll be underwhelming. We'll see. Before we move on to the Gillingham game, let's briefly talk about Papa John's. A pizza trophy was made on Saturday lunchtime, and it is Crewe Alexandra away. Mick, I'm trying to think of a question to ask you, but I know for a fact you're going to say, I don't care, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, it would have been nice to have one at home. I certainly will not be going to that as an away game. I'm sure you won't either, Danny May, I don't know. But, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Don't care, not bothered, interested. At least we've not got an under-21 side. Sorry?
I assume, Danny, you'll be going to Crewe.
Yes. Yes, and for anyone who is thinking about going to Crewe, Kimmy Park are running a bus there. I apologise for my mic. I am getting Mick shouting at me in the private chat. It'll fix itself at some point. We know what it's like. But yeah, if you're thinking about going to Crewe, new ground, all that sort of thing, Kimmy Park are doing a bus if we get enough numbers. I think we're in the low 20s at the minute. So yeah, if you want to book on, £12, come with us. Party bus sorted. New Year's party bus. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the first week of January, with the game before the FA Cup game, so another week of cup expenses, depending on who we get in the FA Cup. So yeah, there's not really much more to mention about Papa John's at the minute. That's it. That's all we've got for it. So let's move on to Gillingham on Tuesday. We've had a 10-day break from the Football League. And we return with Steve Evans as Gillingham coming to town. I haven't got a Gillingham fan on. We haven't arranged a Gillingham fan because I forgot. So we're going to have to do without that. Which is a shame. I know they've got a lot of problems going off at their place, so it would be interesting to hear about those, but not going to happen. We can just speculate. That's what we do best, I think.
It's a real surprise that they've got problems when they've got Steve Evans as manager, being such a stable and reasonable and sort of compromising kind of guy. I'm amazed that there's any form of feathers ruffled there. It's a real shock.
Yeah. I don't think he's problem, shockingly. I think it's that chairman, Paul Scally's been around for a while. He's always been a bit dodgy.
And clues in title there, isn't it? Clues in name.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go referee watch. I've got a ref watch in front of me, so let's start with that. The referee is Ross Joyce for Tuesday night. He last refed us in the last game before lockdown, the Rochdale 3-1 defeat. So let's hope it's not a bad. It can't be that bad, can it? To be fair. So
yeah, well, you would hope not, wouldn't you?
No.
Definitely hope not.
No, it's been a fight. We get an extra break, Danny. Of course, one of the benefits of playing Friday is that we get an extra day's rest before the league game. So it gives us more likely chance to be almost unchanged. The only change for me may be Miller for Ferguson if you want to go a bit more defensive. Other than that, can you see any changes, assuming Woody's fit?
No, I don't think so. I think the only change we might see is a change of goalkeeper, but yeah, I don't know. I think we might not see Ferguson again just as a precaution thing, just so if he's not 100% recovered from whatever illness it was, he might get rested and keep Miller in. But no, I can see more or less the same 11 starting. I mean, they might try it a bit different and go Grigg up top instead of Freddie. But no, yeah, I think the same 11 should be all right.
Yeah, I think so. Interesting one with Vickers and Victor, Mick, because we were all speculating between us last week who's going to be in, who's not going to be, and we're still no nearer knowing who is number one really, because it was a cup game, and we all assumed Victor was going to be in, but then Vickers came in and did fairly well, to be fair. But has Victor got the league shirt for you? What do you think?
I don't know. It's a difficult one. Well, I mean, the only way we're going to be able to tell the answer to that question is on Tuesday, isn't it? You know, I mean, he did well enough against Ipswich, kept a clean sheet. So
Oxford.
I can't see any reason why.
Port Vale.
Say again?
Did he play
And Port Vale, yeah.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Oxford, sorry, yeah, as well. Yeah. So I can't really see. I don't know why he changed it, to be honest. Unless Victor's got a little knock or a niggle or I don't know. But having said that, he was on bench, weren't he, on Friday night? So it's a strange one. It kind of doesn't fit with the you've got the shirt, it's yours to lose attitude that we seem to have had up to this point. So there'll be a reason, I'm sure. But it does make our fan of predictions for Tuesday a bit more difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, it cost me one on Saturday, on Friday. I assume Victor's starting. And it's
me too.
Yep, same.
Thanks for that, Warnie. All we ask is that. Come on.
Just all we ask is for a bit of consistency. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you said that? It looks like Josh Chapman's gone out on loan, Danny. Frickley Athletic tweeted about him being their man of the match, and that's the only thing I've seen about it. I'll see if I can find a tweet now. It's where is Frickley Athletic into it? I said
I'm having a Google of this.
Frickley Athletic FC. Where are we? So they tweeted on Saturday. Where are we? Apologies, this bit's riveting viewing and listening.
Yeah. You know that bit when Matt had the graphic up and we said we're really professional? Yeah, that's gone out of the window now.
But Frickley Athletic on 9:00 on Saturday night. Big shout out to Josh Chapman, great debut today, and he's replied saying thank you. So it looks like Josh Chapman, I assume out online, we're not going to have released him. Surprised we haven't noticed.
Yeah, I've just found it. Interesting. That could be like maybe an emergency loan, maybe, because I know we're quite well connected with Frickley because of Dave and Lee Frecklington being there. So yeah, that could be maybe a short-term loan thing, or because it's basically just a matchup between Victor and Vickers in goal. Maybe sent him out just to get a few minutes. You know, keep him match fit, if you like. Because I know he is technically our youth keeper, isn't he, really? But he's one of them youth keepers where we will probably get him in the first team wherever we can. Probably in cup games, potentially, but further down the line, you know. But no, if he's had a great debut for Frickley, then, you know, fair play to him. He's just been kept very quiet, weirdly.
Exactly, yeah. Strange.
He's got his work cut out for him at Rotherham United at the moment, until let's be fair.
Yeah.
Because he's got two equally good goalkeepers ahead of him. So his best case scenario for him is going to be if somebody gets injured and he's on bench, you know.
The thing is, he's not got two aging keepers either. He's got Victor as a young keeper, and Vickers he's not necessarily young, but he's not an old keeper. So it's not like he's coming in to see out somebody's career and then take over it. He is an out-and-out third-choice keeper, but yeah, fair play to him. It's good to see him going out and getting games. That's the best way to put it. See, Dan's asked, what's the Ilcard situation? Have we escaped the likelihood of any imminent bans? For the most part, yes. I still haven't seen any clarification on Oy Rathbone. He picked up his 5th booking of the season in the 19th game of the season. So it's from that, it sounds like he may be banned for Tuesday. But I haven't seen them reported anywhere else. That's just sort of us speculating. And the FA website is very, very unclear. So keep an eye on that for the starting 11. For the pre-match press coverage, I assume that'll be confirmed in the pre-match presser. I assume it's Monday. So keep an eye out for that, as opposed to Paul Davis tweets and things like that. We certainly will. If he hasn't got a ban, it clearly didn't affect the FA Cup, which we thought it did. Shows how unprepared and knowledgeable we are.
Speaking of which, I've just had a scroll through Frickley's Twitter, and it looks like it is some sort of emergency short-term loan sort of thing, because there was no official announcement of, Josh Chapman's signed on loan. It's more of we've posted the team sheet and Josh Chapman's on loan from Rotherham. And he's starting against Shildon, so it's like them today, one of the things.
Yeah.
So that's come a bit out of the blue.
The times as they are, though, with COVID and everything else, these sorts of things happen probably more often than we're aware of, don't they?
Yeah,
so.
it's like the keeper who in goal for Oxford when we played him. He's on emergency loan from Birmingham. Again, due to managers' connections. So yeah. But anyway, well done, Josh, on having a good debut. Fair play.
You mean somebody likes Carl Robinson?
Apparently so, yeah. Apparently he's got a few contacts at Birmingham.
Well, Lee Bowyer in it, so
yeah.
It's like, weird people.
Yeah.
Anyway. Brooks Simcox up the Millers, and he also mentions that Vickers was class of man of match for him in the Friday night game, which thinks he did have a very good game, to be fair. Charlie Hawks is with us, thinks we're going to win the league very easily. We agree. It's a test this though, Mick, because not necessarily because of Gillingham. They are a standard League One team. We played Burton on Saturday. And these are going to be two very similar teams. But it's sort of because the way we've played in the past two games. I'm not going to count the Oxford game because of the conditions. We need to step back up. We need to get back up a level to where we were, for me.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on Friday night up my own from game, Matt, didn't we? We set the bar very, very high in this unbeaten run, and we've had a couple of 3 games now, probably where we've not performed to the level that we have done, and whilst we've not lost, it kind of feels a bit of a letdown when we, when we're sort of coming away from the Stockport game thinking, well, we're all a bit flat and everything, but we're still not losing games. That these two could be quite difficult games in the sense that they are games that we are expected to win. We're not the underdogs, not even close to being the underdogs. And for the longer this run continues, obviously the less chance we are going to be of being underdogs. And I think that's a position that we like. So he's going to have some motivating to do, because 18 games unbeaten, you played a team that's down bottom end of the division. A team that you should be beating on paper. It can be tricky. It can be tricky. So they're going to have to be professional and up the game as well.
They haven't won since the 19th of October, and to be fair, they only beat Donny. So does that even count as a win? Just does it really?
No.
I mean, they got 3 points. They got 3 points for it, but it's like beating under 12s. It's not. It don't count. So yeah, they're on a really bad run of form. They've lost their last 4 in all competitions. 2 of those were to Cheltenham, 1 in the cup, 1 in the league. They also lost to Crewe, who again are down there. And I want a team struggling this season. Crewe, we were, how much better than Crewe were we when we played them? And they also lost to Portsmouth 1-0 as well. But the drew Wednesday. If you look at the game against Wednesday, which was during our international break, Danny, Sheffield Wednesday didn't like the way they played. They were very, by the sounds of it, they played very much the Wickham role, slowing the game down, stopping it, taking half of the point, as they should be, really. So maybe we expect that. For me, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and I think because Warney probably knows the way Steve Evans plays as well after being his fitness coach, that might play into our hands a little bit. But just looking at their run of games, they've only won once away in the league this year. So a couple of draws chucked in, but generally they're not at the top end, shall we say, when it comes to away games. But again, Gillingham are one of them teams where it could be a banana skin. Like we said, Stockport was probably a bit of a banana skin. Well, Gillingham could be the League One equivalent, If we were to let a guard down against them, they'd probably snatch a goal and win the thing, wouldn't they? But yeah, just keep our heads, keep concentrating, and just take it game by game. That's the cliche, but it works, doesn't it?
But it does. Yeah, absolutely does. And they've got goal scorers. Is it Vadine Oliver, who scored 20+ goals from last season? There are a team who are in the relegation zone, but as with most teams in League One, they aren't a set of mugs. They've got players who can score goals, cause problems, and it won't be taken lightly, will it? Let's be fair.
No, it can't do, can it? It can't do. We need to get those performance levels back up to the level that we've been at, because we're going to have some tough games coming up in the new year. And well, they're all tough games, aren't they? Let's be fair. But we're going to have some tougher games, some more difficult challenges coming up. So we need to get that performance level back to where it was. And I'm sure Warney knows that, and the team know that. And 18 games unbeaten, you're going to have a run within that 18 games where you're not playing to a really high standard. It's inevitable, isn't it? Hopefully, this last 3 games were games that probably under normal circumstances we might have lost at least one of them, but we've come through them, and now we can get back up again and keep moving on. I just hope I just hope people don't keep banging on too much about this unbeaten run. I don't want to. Let's just sweep it under the carpet. Let's not talk about it till it gets to 30. Then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we can now continue our unbeaten league run. Just to keep talking about unbeaten stuff, Mick.
Yeah, do that then instead. Yeah. Think about what I said and then do opposite. That's we'll do that. Yeah.
What are we on 12 or 13 unbeaten, Danny, in league?
I believe it's 13. I think.
Yeah. And this comes from not an arrogant place, but we're now in a set of fixtures where we could, and on paper should be making that unbeaten run. Even higher number. Gillingham, Burton, Cambridge, Accrington are our next 4 games. That's an okay set of fixtures, Danny. We ain't got none of those are top teams. Burton, I think, are the highest out of those teams. We've got to make these games count as much as we had to make the Sunderland and Pompey game count.
Yeah, 100%. And I know Rotham's a little bit of a stereotype in League One is that we do well against the big clubs, if you like. But we always have a tough test against the not to call them smaller teams because that sounds a bit too arrogant, but the teams who stereotypically don't finish high in League One, they'll say, that sounds nicer, doesn't it? But yeah, I think this plays into what Warney said, that to be anywhere up near the top, we need to get through winter and do it well. And I think this perfectly lines it up. We're going through a winter that on paper has some easier fixtures, but could also prove to be very tricky, with slowing the game down, not really letting us play the way we want to. This is probably when the test begins, if you like, because we've already lost to Fleetwood, which was probably the one hiccup. And I think, again, some of the teams like your Gillinghams, like your Burtons, it could potentially catch us out again. But on the flip side, we don't play a team in the current top 9 until I think we play Sheff Wednesday in February. I think that's how long it is until we play another team that's at the minute in the top 9. So hopefully it is plain, but hopefully it is plain sailing. But I have my suspicions we will hit rough waters in the new year.
Yeah, we will. Russ Bailey, great to chat with you on Friday night, Danny. Keep up the good work and great listen up the Millers. Thank you very much for that, Russ. Much appreciate it. Lineup, Mick, how unchanged? Assuming Rathbone's not suspended, because we haven't heard that he is, are you going fully unchanged?
I think I probably would. I think I probably would to that starting 11. I suspect he might be on a ban, in which case you just drop Lindsay in there and job done, innit?
They were good. To be fair, when Lindsay came on Friday, I thought he did well.
Yeah, he did really well, yeah. He offers something different, like we discussed before, but he's a great option. I don't see the point in making any changes. We've been so good so far, so yeah. Assuming that there's no injuries or niggles or illnesses.
Yeah. Any issues with Freddie? Danny obviously didn't score, but is there any temptation from your side to bring Grigg in?
Potentially. I mean, it might be one of them things where if they're expecting us to play a certain way by starting Smith and Freddie, and then we shake it up by playing Smith and Grigg, because I mean, it's effectively a given that Michael Smith's going to start whenever he's not suspended or injured, and he don't get injured.
Touch wood. Touch all the wood you've got, Danny.
Touch wood. Touch wood. But yeah, I think that's probably when Grigg will come in for Freddie, just to surprise potentially, just shake it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm with Mick. If everyone's fit and not suspended, I'd say same 11. Give them a run in the team. Maybe try and work on where it didn't go right against Stockport. because like Michael Ekway said in his interview, they've sat down over the weekend to review it, what went wrong, what didn't quite work, as every football team does like, but hopefully they just sit down and look at it and go, right, if we play the same 11, we know what we have to do now, which I'm sure they will, because it's Rotherham United and that's what we do.
Exactly. The conditions may not suit again. Hopefully against Oxford we had Storm Arwen. Storm Barra, or Barra, whatever you pronounce it, is coming on Tuesday. A yellow warning of wind in the area. So again, it may be a similar situation. Obviously, we've got a better stadium in terms of keeping the atmosphere in than Oxford.
Because they've got a giant hole at one end.
Exactly.
The problem is when wind gets into the stadium, it tends to stay in there and all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, it does.
Whatever.
So we'll see about that. Obviously, that's see. We can't predict it, obviously.
Same for both sides as well, isn't it? Same for both teams. So
yeah, but if you're coming to spoil, which we assume Gillingham are, that suits the team who's coming to spoil, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it does. Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, we may be underselling Gillingham. I don't think we are, but
yeah, Steve Evans, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
I mean, the one thing I will say about Steve Evans' time at Gillingham, I was quite surprised at his interview that he gave, where it's hard to motivate the motivator. You know, one of them like, is everything all right, Steve? You know, what's happening at Gillingham there? Because there was a rumour about him going into League Two. Was it to manage Hartley?
Stevenage.
Oh, Stevenage, that was it. Yeah. So, I hope everything's okay at home, Steve, and I mean that like wholeheartedly. Yeah.
In that comment he made, I mean, I've seen that quote. Who was he referring to as being the motivator? Him,
chairman.
Yeah.
He was referring to him as the motivator, but somebody needs to motivate the motivator, which is fair.
Yeah.
You look at our club. You got Tony Stewart, and you listen to his interview. His job is to keep Paul Warne on the right path. That's part of a chairman's role. It's also worth noting that he may be spoiled. He had Tony Stewart as a chairman. He went to Leeds and had what's his face as chairman, the madman. And it's all not going very well. And I think this guy at Gillingham is a bit of a. Well, I already said what I think he is. So I feel a bit sorry for him. I do feel a bit sorry for him. But
what sort of confused me is that I understood, and it's just been confirmed to me that Steve Evans considers himself a motivator. I mean I find that incredible.
I don't think he means it in the sense of the manager. His role is to motivate the players to play.
I don't think
him himself is a personal motivator, unless it's 40 yard screamer from Ravel at Wembley. Or where it's somewhere like that. But yeah, I get what you mean. To refer to himself as the motivator, I think is a bit strong. But to
ambitious,
but not
not brilliant.
He did seem a little bit downtrodden in that interview. So he might not have the support that Warne's got from Stewart with us, and I think that is another one of Big Tony's strengths. He motivates the man who motivates the squad, who then motivate themselves to play well, which is the chain link that you want at a football club, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
any organisation, really.
We mentioned, you look at our chairman. We talked about him last week. You look at Sheffield Wednesday now and their season ticket fiasco, which they've got going down the road. It's just, But although, from a Rotherham point of view, a lot of Wednesday fans are speculating that this is a potential way to get some income because they have potential. This is all potential and rumoured cash flow problems. So if anybody's not seen this, Sheffield Wednesday have released an early bird season ticket offer where they can pay for next season's season ticket in full within the next 2 or 3 weeks. If they don't pay it in that 2 or 3 weeks, then the price will go up. There's no multi-finance option. And it's got to be done. You've got a very, very short 2 or 3 week window to pay full price. Otherwise, your price will increase. So there's a lot of upset Wednesday fans, rightly so as well. I think that's a bizarre offer. Again, offer's not the right word.
I think someone needs to press the emergency meeting button because that's kind of sus to me.
Very sus to me, yeah. Very, very.
Do you remember a few years ago when they did the whole 10-year season ticket thing with the aim to get back to the Premier League?
Yeah.
And,
Apparently, I was speaking to Wednesday fan at weekend. 4 people bought those 10-year season tickets if they got to Premier League. 4 people paid thousand, whatever it was. It was a lot of money. And again, if nobody knows, it was you paid an X amount, and if Wednesday got to the Premier League, you get 10-year free season ticket. And it was a lot of money. It was several £1,000s, and 4 people paid that money.
Oh,
for one of the very few moments in my life, I am speechless at that.
Yeah, but the only reason that's worth mentioning is because if they are in cash flow problems, that's going to impact their January transfer window, and they've already been warned if they don't pay their players on time again, they will get a points deduction. So it's worth keeping an eye on.
It's another 6, isn't it? Is it another 6?
I think it's another 6. Yeah, I think it is. So it's certainly worth keeping an eye on that. From a Rotherham point of view, so it is funny to laugh, and it is funny to laugh, but it may affect us in a positive way as well. Anything else? I think we've just about covered most of it. Is anything else Rotherham or slightly tenuously Rotherham related stuff you want to cover?
No, not really. Not for me. I think you could cover the Ipswich's march towards glory if you want.
I'm really surprised about that.
Yeah.
I think that's good news for us. I think you got it right. Danny, what do you think?
I think they watched our podcast and got upset that we've highlighted Paul Cook's comments about where that Rotherham is the mark we strive for. I think they've got upset and sacked him because of it. But no, I think there is a lot of noise coming out of the Ipswich branch of Twitter that their owners have basically just dropped the ball on this one, and they've sacked him because they weren't top of the league effectively. Which is a shame, because in their statement they said about he wasn't taking the club in the right direction for their long-term plan. Now,
they got a long-term plan.
Exactly, like what long-term plan involves hiring a manager in March, sacking him in December, when he's done a full rebuild in the summer, spent loads of money on players, including wages. They're 11th in the league, not doing that poorly. You know, like not up there, but they're not exactly like 16th, are they? So it's like, what long-term plan? I thought your long-term plan was just to get to back to the championship. That's our plan every season, that we come down here. So it's a baffling decision, to be honest. I mean,
I don't think that. I don't think what you've just said there, Danny, is going to would go down well with them, to be honest with you, because it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense what you just said.
I hope they're watching this one and they see me calling them out on it, because it's a really bizarre decision. It makes no sense.
No, I always measure it on other managers. If we needed a manager, would I take them? I would absolutely take Paul. If Paul Warne left tomorrow for one reason or another, go get Paul Cook. He'd be perfect. At this level, he'd be brilliant, and it baffles me that they get rid of him. Completely baffles.
I think the only issue with Paul Cook is that he seems very set in his ways. But
there is that.
But Chris Wilder's very set in his ways, and look where that took Sheffield United.
Yeah,
you know, just as one example, it's not really about.
He showed patience.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've recently just passed Warney's 5-year anniversary as our manager, and I don't quite know the exact date how long he's been with our club. I think he's been here about 100 years now, since first coming as a player. But when Warney took over as manager, like right off his first championship season, because there was nothing he could do with that one, but take it from his first League One season, it has been a work in progress the whole time. And it's taken us 4 years, 4 full seasons to get probably one of the best Rotherham United squads together since the early 80s in terms of individual player quality and working as a team. So to sack a manager after only 9 months without his squad being able to fully engage with his way of playing doesn't make sense. No. You know, if you're trying to get out of this division, you need to set a target of, you know, we need to back the manager, and if it don't work after his full contract's up, then we get rid and try again. You can't
unless they were barreling towards relegation.
Yeah, unless you're barreling towards relegation, which is why we sacked Alan Stubbs. He said the aim for Rotherham is the playoffs, and after 19 games when he was sacked, we were rock bottom with 7 points.
Yeah,
that's when you get rid, because that hasn't worked and exploded in your face. But with Paul Cook, it was gelling, but it wasn't a fluid machine yet. And I think if it had another season, it probably would have got them going again. But anyway, it's not our club. We concentrate on where we're going. We've got Paul Ward. We are happy at the top of the championship, at the top of League One, heading towards the championship. We hope
very much so.
and quite frankly, Ipswich, while they've got these owners, if this is the way they're going to behave, will be remaining in League One, or they may go up to the championship, but they'll ultimately get found out because you can't buy your way up there.
Well, that's Derby.
Exactly. And Wednesday and Reading and Wigan and Sunderland. Ask all these clubs who've tried to do it. I find it naive. Beyond words, really. But anyway, great. Happy days.
Thank you all for watching. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you've subscribed. We want to push towards 500 subscribers for the new year, and we've just ticked over to 400. So if you aren't already subscribed, please do. If you watched it on Facebook as well, same thing. Go to YouTube and give us a subscribe. If you're on iTunes, make sure you give us a 5-star rating. See if we can get some more of those, and make sure you've subscribed. Same with Spotify. Make sure you follow us on there. And if we are your top listener on Spotify, let us know. We always want to know that on the Wrapped for the year for Spotify. Let us know about that. That'd be like hearing about it. We will be back on Thursday evening, where we will review the Gillingham game, and we're looking ahead to the final of the 4 home games in a row, Burton Albion on Saturday. Keep an eye out for some stuff. We may do something in relation to FA Cup draw and something like that, but keep an eye on the socials. You'll see everything on there. So follow us on Twitter. We did a match day live space on Twitter after the game. We may not do it on Tuesday because it's quite late, but if you follow us on there, you'll be able to see when we do anything live through there and join in anything you want. Danny, always a pleasure to have you with us, mate. And your microphone did sort itself out. Very good.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And Mick, there were no problems with your microphone, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately. I'll try and sort it out for next time.
Yeah. Please do. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Freddie's on one-on-one. Freddie Kenny shoot container shot. Yeah!